All right, we live to get my buddy Gavin Rashad Esquire. Donate the $ Gavin Rashad Esquire. He is back again, and he seems like he is having a good time out in the Sunshine State on I guess a little vacation. So how you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine, man. I'm trying to relax on a little vacay right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for the
Yeah,
Memorial
well,
Day weekend, y'all know. Yeah, so I'm enjoying myself.
well, that's good. I'm glad that you
I'm in Valerie's home state.
taking been going on though in the last month, and as we get ready to go into relieving Asian American History Month, and we're about to go into Pride Month. A lot of things been going on in the same time. So I'm gonna bring up a couple issues, but I want to start off with and I gotta give a shout out to Judge Joe Brown for actually shouting me out yesterday on
But
on Kwame Brown's show. That was actually kind of interesting. He said he
I
couldn't
saw
forget.
some of it. I saw
Yeah,
some of it. So he shouted you out. Okay, that's
yeah, he
good.
did. He shouted a lot of people. He kept on saying, "Who did I forget?" But obviously Kwame was writing it down. But I give him a shout out for that because I wasn't going to. I didn't even think he would do that, but it is what it is. I mean, so and I thought about it and I looked at this and said, dang, this thing got over 600,000 views last night and it's growing and growing. I will say one thing I will say about the Kwame thing and Judge, that could be the media apocalypse because Kwame does his shows in the morning. And that's when the Breakfast Club and all, so he's actually taking the audience and people are coming to Kwame. But this is how you counter a media attack. You change the narrative about what Kwame is doing. During the same time they do it, and they'll watch him more. See? Because people want to hear what Kwame is saying. They're not trying to hear what Charlemagne, Fraud, and all these other people are saying. So it's
Well,
like a media apocalypse.
yeah, Kwame. I mean, the minute he started going viral for just doing those rants on these gatekeepers or bootlicks, as I like to call them, like Stephen A. Smith and uh, who else? She talked about Charlemagne. Obviously, he talked about the Breakfast Club. Whole bunch of people. Matt Barnes, who he called Becky with the good hair. He's actually right now he's hot. So if he has his show going on, he's got people, 12,000 people in his chat automatically who are going to check him out. He's got over 167 subscribers already on YouTube. People are liking this Mama's Cooking. And I think it goes to what's going on in the country right now with this whole censorship thing, with this whole, people are tired of being told by corporations who they're supposed to follow and who they're supposed to, who their heroes are. And I saw some of the video, but I was listening to some of it yesterday morning, and Judge was going in on Charlemagne, man. I was like, damn. It's not the first time because I've always heard stuff about Charlemagne and the Breakfast Club. I just don't. I've stopped really listening to them because they've become shills too much for the Democratic Party. I don't like stuff like that. I think media. If you want to vote for somebody, you can vote for whoever you want for. I can't uh, hinder that. But when you use your platform to attack other people or you use it to push certain agendas, I get real sick of it. And even with Stephen A, you know, he says Stephen A called Kwame Brown a bona fide scrub. But when I look at it too, you look at it from this side. Kwame has also made $65 million.
Yep.
So Stephen A, I don't think has even come close to making that amount of money.
Well, I'm looking at it in different contexts. I'm not worried about the basketball career. What are you talking about? We talking about real life now. See, that's why can't Stephen A. respond to something like that? Or you can't. You know why you can't respond, Stephen A. Because you might get in the Michelle Beadle situation where you actually get into a little bit of trouble if you can remember that situation.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I talked about it. I mean, let's go back to it. What he was saying about the Ray Rice situation, I understood completely. Did you?
Yeah, I got it.
Women and how they're supposed to be careful about putting themselves in certain situations. That's no different than what my mother and father used to tell me when I would go to parties, and they would tell me, "Don't put your drinks down anywhere. Watch who you hang out with." Things of that nature. It's not that you excuse the behavior of the perpetrator by no means, but they were trying to tell you is don't give them an advantage, any advantage into what it was that into any situation that you find yourself in. Same thing when we go travel to get gas, stop at gas stations. There's certain neighborhoods, flat out, I don't fucking go to. Even as a black man, I don't mess with it. In New Orleans, in my hometown, we got a situation right now where people are getting held up even in the middle of the day while they're pumping gas, bro. It's messed up. So
I'm saying,
if I go get, if I go get gas, I always, number one, I keep my gun on me, and number two, I have somebody either with me, and that's just the way it is. And so what Stephen A. was saying, I understood that, but when you have cancel culture, and this was in 2014, you have people that are emotional, and that's always been the standpoint for ESPN. You have Michelle Beadle who comments about why she didn't leave on domestic violence and attack Stephen A. Smith, which violated company policy. They're not supposed to attack each other while they're on using social media. But ESPN, who did they punish? They punished Stephen. And Stephen A., when it came to Michelle Beadle, he clips his nut. He looked like he had his nuts clipped. He tucks his chin in on the next day and says, "I was wrong. I apologize." But you see, when he was talking about Kevin Durant, when he was talking about Mark Cuban and praising Mark Cuban's comments, where he just said that if I had to choose between wearing I get scared when a black kid is wearing a hoodie versus a white man with tattoos, a bald head white guy with tattoos. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what Mark Cuban said. Stephen A. Smith was defending him, and then when Kevin Durant and Kevin Durant is a good dude from what I heard here. He talks about Kevin Durant when Kevin Durant called him a liar, and he says, "You do not want it with me. You do not want it with me." So you get in front of white folks, you're like, "Oh yes, the balls, yes, yes." Black people, you want to be stern and hard with, and people are sick of that. I noticed the differences with him and and Shannon Sharp, and I think Kwame came at Shannon to I don't know exactly what that one situation was, but these guys, ESPN's platform, and I don't really watch ESPN or Fox Sports anymore, like talking about it, but their platform is essentially to attack black athletes and black men in particular, and that's why Kwame Brown was upset. You using your platform to attack other black men. And he didn't just come at them, he
well,
came at Nichols. Look what they did with Floyd Mayweather. They made when Mayweather was fighting Pacquiao, they made a whole segment of dedicated an outside the lines report to Floyd Mayweather's domestic violence situation. But they didn't talk about Pacquiao's tax evasion charges that he had, accusations. They didn't talk about his numerous adulterous affairs. None of that shit. So,
well, I looked at this thing in a different context too, because with Kwame, Stephen A. made a statement, I wouldn't trade Andrew Wiggins for Bobby Suri. And Kwame was saying how you devalue the athletes and then they can't get certain contracts and deals. So actually, that was a big part that he brought up, because by you slandering the guy through the media so much, that you actually hurt their value as far as, when they're able to make a contract and negotiate. Same thing with Antonio Brown. Same thing with all these guys, how they do it. But they got, and that's why the guy said that black folks, white folks not gonna say nothing about black folks on media. They gonna get them to do it. And you see how it's going right now. That's how they running the script in the
yeah,
scenario. So we got to be careful, but I do appreciate that he had Judge on there. When I knew they had Judge on the show, I said this thing is gonna really blow.
yeah,
When you really think about having Judge Brown on that show with Kwame, I mean, Kwame is already viral, so all you're doing is just adding to the ante, man. That's how I looked at it.
right.
All
And
right.
on Dwan B show this morning. Early.
Yep.
Shout out to them.
Yeah. So right now, this is the hottest thing on the book. Now I want to bring up something. There's been some more attacks on straight black men again, of course, with our disgraced NBA player, Dwayne Wade. Or is he trying to be Gabrielle Union or something these days? I'm not sure, but but he says that the men do not lead anymore. He doesn't lead or something. And that is a very telling comment. But then again, as I just kept reminding you when we started the show, Pride Month is coming up. They're already running the drill for feminism right now. They're already starting to get it in your mind. You're already starting out. So they started out about 5 days early. So next month we're gonna see a lot of this stuff. We're gonna see a lot of action and stuff like that. We're gonna see a lot of marches. You know what we're gonna see.
Dwayne, what that tells me is Dwayne Wayne doesn't run his own household. That's essentially what he's saying. He makes, and I think that is the reason, me personally, why his son is now identifying as this young girl. He has no leadership skills. On the basketball court, the man was a beast. I never saw, at that time, he was, right up there with Kobe Bryant and uh, Kobe Bryant, LeBron, in that era, and he was part of that whole team and so forth, what Miami did. So just to see what he has been saying as of late, remember he had a documentary that came out about over a year ago, where they were promoting this same thing. So this doesn't surprise me that he's doing it. They're using black celebrities more and more to push the buck breaking uh, and the moistness. And we need to talk about it. I think Gabrielle Union is a witch. I think that's my opinion. I'll stand by it. Just because this is wicked.
I don't disagree with you.
And I remember, and I know she said, remember she got years ago when she was working, I believe at a shoe store, she was sexually assaulted or raped, and she talked about it. I don't know if that plays in her psyche with this stuff, but this is not even her child. This is her stepson. And so this is someone else's child. And my understanding is the mother calls the girl with who they call a girl. She still calls him Zendaya. If I'm not, I don't know what his real name is, but by Zion might be his real name. She still calls him by his male name. So it's I don't know what their relationship between Dwayne and his first wife is. I think it was very hostile at one point. She was living on the streets and so forth. This is buck breaking 101. And it's starting with somebody so young as Dwayne Wade. Because, Dwayne Wade's kid, because, what's going to happen before he's pre adolescent when they started all of this stuff? What's going to happen as his brain develops, when he starts to look at girls differently and realizes, oh, I've made a mistake? Because that has happened. As people get older, we know that children are prone to make mistakes. That's part of being young. That's part of their youth. So to have this be forced on them so quickly at a young age is problematic.
Well, I'm going to say this about Wade. Wade has really become a sock puppet for the agenda, and he is really, really starting to get more aggravated with it. I really could care less if we saw Wade on another program or anything else, because what he's doing, and actually that buck breaking documentary was a very good documentary, and I watched it last Saturday. So I just want to shout out to Tariq Nasheed knows for putting that documentary together. Phil Valentine, Judge Brown was on the Dr. Short, you name it. But Dwayne Wade has actually shown that he is nothing more than a simp. Okay, and we should distance ourselves from people like Dwayne Wade and others. Dwayne Wade actually is almost in the same league as Don Lemon right now. But it's just that he just comes out and just tell you And I just said, you don't speak for me. Well, you don't speak for us. You speaking for some other agenda, Dwayne Wade, and I don't really want to listen to that silly stuff that he's saying. Also, speaking of another little, that's what we would call a person of interest or a person of should be non-interest. I see Mr. Barry Soetoro is back on the scene again. The day after George Floyd died, he had an interview and he actually said that he could not stop the killings of Black Americans due to police because of institutional constraints. I'm like, oh my goodness, man. I'm like, is this the biggest clown show that we living in or what? I'm just asking because I mean I haven't seen him this much. He's been coming out here, there, like a little drip drop. But I don't need to hear about George Floyd's family going to the White House for a photo op. You didn't get nothing done. I don't need to hear these subtle justice. I think they about to, I think on June 1st they're supposed to go commemorate Tulsa, Oklahoma for the 100th anniversary of the massacre.
Today, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the citizens did with the remaining survivors of it.
Okay.
Let me say this, because I did a video about it as well. The President of the United States, while he does not control everything that affects you, uh, for the most part, if you live in the United States, affects you on a local level, first and foremost. You have local, state, and federal government. So, without question, you're more impacted locally in just like in an election, more than you are in a federal election, because there's more involved in your state and your municipalities and so forth. A president, while he does not control those institutions like your police department and your local district attorney's office, he does have a bully pulpit. And Barack Obama, for him to get out here and say that he couldn't do more, is a complete slap in the face. And let me tell you why. Monies from the government, certain acts, especially we're talking about federal spending to police departments, he has approved that as a president. Presidents approve that. Congress signs that, and they, as presidents, they sign that into law. He authorized the use of gas weapons and so forth to go to these very police departments that they were using on protesters. So I will never forget myself when George Herbert Walker Bush, the first Bush, and after the Rodney King verdict, he personally got on a press conference with a press conference at the White House and stated that there should be no place for racism in this country. And he sought that those prosecutors that those police officers that beat up Rodney King, like Stacey Koon and the other officers, that they were prosecuted under federal law for civil rights violations. And they were. Here you had two attorney generals who were black, supposedly, and Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch, and yet you did not get a prosecution of, let's
He's a
not say,
Barbadian.
uh, I'm sorry?
He's from Barbados. It's okay. I'm just saying
Oh,
he's from Barbados. But yeah.
his family, yeah. Well, still, even so, Eric Holder, even so, with that, you didn't get a prosecution for the men who killed Eric Garner. You didn't get a prosecution for the killing of those Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge. You didn't get one for Mike Brown in St. Louis. Just though, and of course, I know you weren't good. It was going to be difficult to get one with Trayvon because Zimmerman was not a police officer, although he was, supposedly on a night watchman, and there may be some ties to that if they could find he worked specifically with a municipality in there. But I think he was just working within that community. Nevertheless, you never had any civil rights prosecutions brought against any of these race soldiers under your first so-called black president's administration. And the only thing we got out of his administration was a BET special at the end of his career, at the end of his term, where Samuel Jackson is hosting, and all of these black celebrities are like, "Oh, Mr. President, you was just the best. We love you. You were the greatest. All that shucking and jiving, and it didn't do anything for us. And now black people, I think, are seeing what their President
You know
Obama
what?
of.
I'm gonna disagree with you slightly on the other end. He did do something. Actually, you know what he did? He made sure by the time he left office, you lost 53% of your net wealth through that housing crash. You lost 53% of your net wealth. And this is Atlantic that wrote this in 2017. And his housing policies caused black people to lose 53% of their net wealth. So
Mhm.
actually, he did do something. He screwed you over.
Well, what I'm saying is that
I know.
as a president, he did not. Okay, he helped. How is it you can go? Remember, he goes to uh, Mother Emanuel Church for the funeral services after Dylan Roof shoots up that church. After Dylan Roof killed all of those 9 people, those innocent people. The next year, when Pulse nightclub incident happens, he goes down personally and meets with those families that were killed in that gay nightclub, and talked about passing legislation, if I'm not mistaken, for anti uh for against anti LGBTQ hate. That Equality Act that they want to pass and so forth. That was something written during his term, although he didn't write it. I don't know who's drafted it, but they frame it even as even the Emmett Till anti-lynching bill that's in the Senate now that's never been passed. That's never been passed for black people. And in particular, is actually my understanding it's a pro LGBTQ thing anyway. So the bottom line is that when this president wants to do something, he had an opportunity to do it. And I listened to part of his interview where he blamed the fact that while I got in 2012, we didn't have the constituents, we didn't have people in the governor's race or the state's race. The problem with that is that even in 2012, President Obama still found the time to push for LGBTQ rights. He pushed for Jewish rights. He pushed for everybody but black people. So I don't buy into this. I think he's coming out saying this now because the 2022 election is coming forward. A lot of black people, even those that voted for Joe Biden, I think are having second thoughts about it because of what they're seeing transpire so far, how all of these other groups are getting rights, and we're not getting anything. It's hard to get a George Floyd justice bill, although that's a nothing burger in and of itself is symbolic. But Asian Americans could get a COVID-19 bill. They didn't have to do a study. Now you're gonna, and I know we're gonna
No
talk.
march neither. No march neither.
No marches, no marching, no
But
protest.
we had Al Sharpton yesterday in New York at an anti-Asian hate march just yesterday. And Samuel Jackson doing it too. Okay? So yeah, no march, but you got these bootlicks out here promoting that shit.
Right, right. No marching, no protesting. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm a little tired. It's all
Oh,
good.
yeah, man.
No Senate. Yeah, man, I just had a long day, but I'm good. No Senate committees, nothing like that. They just went and got it. And I think he's realizing even his legacy among black people is shot. It's
Hmm.
shot right now. So his time in office, remember when was it Newsweek magazine that had him on the cover as the first gay president? That's what he's
Yeah.
going to be remembered for. He repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell. He repealed DOMA. He fought to repeal the Defense of Marriage Act that Bill Clinton had signed. He was the first president to openly support same sex marriage. He supports transgenderism. He supported that even in the military. So a whole bunch of stuff that he's done, that's what he's remembered for. But if you talk to the average person, especially average black person who's in their 60s and 70s, they will tell you that he was the first black president. That's all I need to know. He did he was, and it's not even people in their 60s and 70s. It's even some younger people, those that are part of the elite and so forth, that don't have issues with Barack Obama. They just care about the fact that he was the first.
You want to know something though, Gavin? Something I was talking to a young guy about this the other day, and he was saying, "Well, your legacy is remembered in the streets. And I told him, you're right. And he said, the streets don't like Barack Obama. And I said, that means there's a whole lot of people that don't. So I know that. So it's usually bougie, sometimes middle class, upper class, elite Negroes like Obama. Because anybody with common sense would not be capable for this guy. I mean, you have to be almost crazy to know that. I mean, you have to have some type of common sense. I mean, I don't even feel sorry for those people sometimes because I'm like, wait a minute. You do realize the daggone what happened under his watch. So for him to even talk about police killing, yeah. And most of them weren't even reported. That stuff, most of that stuff you saw on TV was psyop. There was way more going on there. Look at what happened in Chicago. Claim to be from Chicago. You had almost 4,000 murders during your term, and you want me to respect you?
Right.
You want me to respect Lori Lightfoot? What's going on right now? Are you serious right now?
And he's from Chicago. He's from Chicago. He lives in Chicago. All those kids that got shot in the streets of Chicago, he didn't say nothing about that.
That's right.
So
he did say that. Oh, he did. Matter of fact, he did come out and say that.
What happened with
he said you need to be better fathers, but yet he promotes the fatherless agenda. So that only makes sense. It's like oxymoron.
Well, he criticized and chastised those black men graduating from Clark Atlanta University, but he did, or Morehouse, I think, college, but he didn't say anything positive about those men either. When he told them to turn up and pull up by their bootstraps back in 2013, it was when he made those remarks. Yep. Yeah, but you had people that still worship him no matter what. He could talk down to you like a dog, just like when Biden talked to those leaders at that conference after he won the election, how America is no longer be a white nation and you guys don't have to work with the Latinos and all this and stuff. So those are the people that are hindering progress. Barack Obama was part of that class too, and even himself, if you look at it, he didn't even like identifying with us.
Sure didn't. He didn't. Matter of fact, he actually told you that on Tom Drummond's show. As a matter of fact, you know something? I just thought about this.
He was very critical of HBCUs.
Yeah, he never claimed to be black either, did he? No, he didn't. By the way, that's another thing. That was the media appointing him. Me, I kind of like, when I saw him, I said, this guy just came out of nowhere. I guarantee you a lot of people have buyer's remorse right now, but guess what? Hey, look, we already knew what was coming because we looked at the policies. Matter of fact, the policies actually are the same. But I got to say something too today. You know what? So we had the anti-Asian hate bill passed.
Yeah.
Now they got a new thing coming up now. They're saying, oh, we got to pass a bill for anti-Semitism. That's on the rise. So we about to go into what they call the oppression Olympics right now. I call it the oppression Olympics because we're going to have that. We're going to start having the transgender say they've been attacked. We're going to have this person. Dogs going to say they're going to get attacked. The cicadas or whatever, the little bugs, they're going to be attacked. Mice. Everybody about to get attacked. Shoot. Everybody about to get a bill passed.
Well, I saw what you sent me, and I saw Mr. Emhoff, the vice president's husband, is leading that, which I think there's it's obvious nepotism if it gets through something like that. But let me say this. Even the crimes bill that they were able to put in this past crimes bill, it essentially creates a new it really creates new laws that give the government even more enforcement to impede on your Fourth and Fifth and Sixth Amendment rights. Your Fourth Amendment rights, in particular, because it protects you from unreasonable searches and seizures of your persons, places, houses, and effects. So, what I've read in that bill is very disturbing, and I can only imagine what's going to happen with in the next few months or so if they decide to pass this excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm just yawning on y'all. This anti-Semitism bill that they're talking about. So I'm not, and let's be clear too. you have, I'm not saying that this stuff doesn't exist, that anti-Semitism or racism or prejudice towards Asians doesn't exist, but let's also look at this too from this perspective. Anyone I know of who says anything critical of the Jewish community gets gets dealt with.
That's right.
Biggest biggest case in point, look at Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
Nick Cannon has been on a damn apology tour for a whole year for having an interview with Professor Griff from Public Enemy. And can't tell me exactly what he said was anti Semitic, what he said was anti Jewish. They brought Farrakhan involved in it. They had that rabbi sit down with Nick, and he told some stories and lies about Minister Farrakhan that were not true. Nick Cannon allows it because he wants to get his show back, which goes to tell you who owns and controls the media, the power structure in America, in Hollywood.
That's right.
That Viacom CBS, the Redstone family, that woman who fired him, her father who just founded that, he died. He was a movie mogul. He actually created and owned several movie theaters before he ventured into television networks. He was actually, so she was he's a multi-billionaire, but he was Jewish. Now, not it's something that we can learn from as far as how important it is to own our own networks and our movie theaters and make money from it. But you see how you thought Nick Cannon controlled his show because he produced it. He obviously didn't own the rights to it.
What do you think about Damon John?
No, I'm not talking about Damon John. I'm
We'll
talking
get to
about
him in a minute. We're talking about him in a minute.
I was talking about Nick Cannon, but since you brought up Damon John, yeah, Damon John is another example. He had to apologize for all he did was praise Minister Farrakhan's eulogy for DMX.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all he did. And then the next thing you saw, he took that tweet down and issued an apology to the Jewish community. What? What? What did he say?
He didn't say that.
He didn't say shit. He didn't say anything about them. So the nerve of these people to actually say all of this stuff about the minister, and I'm not saying I agree with everything he says, but I know propaganda when I see it. I know lies when I see it, and I gotta call it out. This was this was disgusting to see a black man who is worth millions, who all the commercials we've seen him do, like for Chase and Nickelodeon and so forth. Supposedly, I believe, Nick Cannon is a officer with the Nickelodeon channel with the company. For him to go from this boss and mogul to basically this weak black man with no backbone. Same thing with Damon John, the founder of FUBU. He got through Boo because they were through with his butt. Somebody was through with his butt the minute he put that tweet out. Uh, he it was disheartening to see all of that, and we can learn something. We can learn something from them. Let me just share this with you. I'm looking for something right now.
Go
Vi-
ahead.
Viacom CBS. Okay, mass media. Sherry Redstone. That's the name of the founder.
Yeah,
Father, her father was Sumner Redstone. He's a guy that just died. He owned. He was the majority owner and chairman of National Amusements Theater chain. He was a billionaire businessman and a media magnate. And according to Forbes magazine, as of 2020 and April 2020, he had an estimated net worth of $2.6 billion.
Mm. Mm.
So his daughter, Sherry Redstone, she was the one, she fired Nick Cannon after that interview.
Wow.
With Professor Griff. So this is the stuff you're dealing with.
You know, somebody, that rabbi you talking about actually had something to do with public enemy back in the day too. That's how interesting that is.
Right.
So that goes to show you that hey, the brother didn't speak up, but they apologizing for nothing. I mean, they apologizing. You made a statement, just stand on it, man. Daggone, ain't like you ain't got a lot of money, Nick.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to figure out what are you apologizing for. Don't apologize for something you didn't say.
Well, you know how it goes, Gavin. When they apologize, they
But
they,
this,
they kind of got you.
yeah, but then let's go back to this bill. What's going to happen eventually? And let me be clear. Look, well, even non-black. Look at what happened to Mel Gibson. Now he actually made anti-Semitic slurs. He made and said some. He also said some racist shit about black people. You know, when he talked about his fiance, I hope you get raped by a pack of niggers. You remember that?
Yeah,
And,
I remember that.
and you had a Jewish actor, Robert Downey Jr., who actually got up on stage and asked the Academy. I don't know if it was the Academy Awards or what award show it was, but he actually asked for forgiveness for Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson could not even make or develop a Polaroid picture after he made those remarks about Jewish people. I mean, and this was a guy who made millions. He's worth over $500 million from one movie that he directed, The Passion of the Christ, because he produced it independently. He put up his own money and made that, and it became uh, a best-selling movie. So for somebody who even has millions like that can't make a picture, can't make a can't but he was allowed back because he has the complexion for the protection. He's white. uh he was allowed to come back in and make movies still. It goes to show you who really runs things. Hollywood is nothing but a Sam Hollywood is nothing but a big Sam's Club, and you got to know how to play to get in it.
Well, that's very interesting. You said that because as you realize, the Oscars this year, everything has been down. So a lot of people leaving CNN, leaving blind audience. A lot of people waking up to the game. It's the ones that don't wake up and be left behind.
And I think the Golden Globes got canceled.
It's good.
They're not doing them anymore, although they're trying to say it's because of the racial. They want to stand together against social justice because of the diversity issues with it. But Tom Cruise is talking about giving his awards back. I think that's a crock, because you all knew about the lack of diversity then. You didn't say anything about it. That was in the 80s. I know you didn't have diversity then. So now you want to do it?
Hey, look, I already told you this could be the year that pressing element we will get virtue signals but no action. We're gonna get virtue signals, no bills. And they know what they're gonna do. They're gonna still say this. Everybody want to be woke right now. It's a lot of money right now, Gavin, and being woke.
Right.
Speaking of one of the queens of wokeness, Miss Patrice Cullors just stepped down from BLM.
I saw that.
That's interesting because 3 days before they had this brother named Maj Toure. You've heard of Maj Toure.
I did.
And he was on an interview with Lawrence Jones. He was talking about 1.5% of that money only went to charitable causes. The other one went to Joe Biden and other corporations. And he was saying that a lot of people started to see through the games of BLM, and he said they need to pay up. So, for the most part, he was on Lawrence Jones on Monday, or was it Tuesday? It was around George Floyd's anniversary. But and then she resigned 3 days later. She says it's from right wing attacks. But I said I haven't seen a lot of white folks attacking Patrice Cullors and BLM. I've been seeing angry black folks attack them. So They're gonna use the white folks as a scapegoat because they don't want to admit that we the ones really attacking. You hear me? Yeah. Well, anyway, Patrice Cullors, after she had that $3 million, them houses she bought, she did resign over a week, and that actually is interesting in itself that happened.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is that well, I heard you when you said that, but what I'm saying is that Black Lives Matter is an LGBTQ far left Marxist organization. It stands on the necks of dead black men so that they can get a come up. They are not about. There may be some who are there innocently that want to do the right thing in it, but I'm talking about the organization. The slogan "Black Lives Matter" is good, but the organization and group, the people who run it, not so much.
So, but I'm glad all this stuff is starting to come out now. We got when it's coming out, that makes it better.
Buying luxurious mansions. That's what BLM stands for.
Hey, that
Go
ain't. Hey man, I didn't see that comment, man. That's a good one actually. Um, now as far as you
I say Black Lives Matter, not lives. Black lies.
but as far as you've had
Black.
a. So I need you to speak about something because I saw something yesterday. You said your channel got pulled or something happened.
No, the channel didn't get pulled. My live stream I did with Sean was pulled.
Okay.
I did a live stream with Sean as I do every Thursday, and I did one for 2 hours this past Thursday, and we talked a host of topics. Random topic Thursdays. So I was laying in bed Thursday night. I get email notifications from my email account, and I saw something pop up. I opened it, and I looked to see that we Gboot 2786, your content has been removed. And I looked and it said that my content was removed because it violated its policies. We believe it violated its policies as to child safety. So they just took the whole live stream down based on what they call child safety. They claim that right now, because of COVID-19, they're in an automated situation. And it could have been a mistake that they made. I don't believe it was an automated decision. I think they were still directing these computers, and they still are because that's the only way a video can get taken down. Somebody has to be monitoring it. So I was disgusted nonetheless to see that happen. And it's
But
just part of it's part of the biggest problem we have right now is censorship.
well, I do think it'll be good. I think that just take it as we gonna have to watch these guys. They are really starting to go over the head on censorship. Now, you got anything going on with your business? You know, the Spice Company or anything, any new developments?
We are about to launch our website actually this week, naughty'screoleseasonings.com. Naughty's Creole Seasonings. I'll share that with you a little bit later, Bernard, especially when we get it all up in development. But we are getting ready to go with everything still. When the website comes up, everybody will be able to order some spices that they may want. But we're moving forward. So I have that. I have my law office practice that's going on. So I'm going to be enjoying the rest of this vacay and enjoying for time I have now this Memorial Day weekend. I may do a live stream Sunday, but let me just speak on this real quick too. Something that I think we ought to do, everybody, if they're interested. We need to move away eventually from YouTube. Um, at Facebook because what's going on is that too many of our men, too many of our women who have legitimate platforms want to grow as a business are not getting their fair shake out of this,
Yep.
out of YouTube and censorship. So I'm kind of fed up with it.
Okay. Well, I understand that, brother, and that is something to look forward to because the woke police are really starting to zoom in.
Starting to be
So
a pain in the ass, man.
yeah, oh yeah, they are the woke police. But I do want to say, I know your cash app is Gavin Gavin Squad. That squad. Please donate to this brother. He puts up a lot of content on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursdays. Thursdays usually with Sean James, and every now and then I come on there too as well, and Bernard Children and so
And
many
I'm
others
off
on
the
there.
other channel too. My self-entitled channel that I have, my backup channel. They pulled it from there as well. So uh,
Wow.
YouTube has been on some stuff where they've been scrubbing subscribers. They've been taking down videos. They've been doing a bunch of stuff to different people. So I'm not alone.
I understand. Well, when you told us about the business, like I said, I didn't want to hold you too long. I know you're in Florida and you're on vacation, so I do want to tell you just keep on doing what you're doing, and we'll touch again soon. And when the website comes, just send it to me, and I'll send it out to some others.
Well, I want you to look outside. Y'all see this?
Oh yeah, it's nice out there, man.
Yeah, man. I'm on this. I'm the beach is right there.
I see it.
Yeah.
You need to go out there and get you some sunlight, man, so you can stay up a little bit.
I did get me some sunlight earlier. I was out there for an hour or so. So when you get when you get sunlight, you get drained right afterwards because the sun takes a lot out of you. But it's good.
Well,
I was going
I,
out the water too and get knocked around a little bit. So that's always fun.
well, I just gonna keep on having fun and get back to New Orleans safely, brother.
Will do, brother. I appreciate it, man. It's always good to do a live stream with you and everybody else, man.
Yeah, shout out Real BTV and others. Valerie B. Jones, everybody. So
Shout out to Ron Hurst. Shout out to Valerie Denise Jones, Queen Amadaya Shakur,
that's
Judge
right.
Jill.
She's actually in the chat.
She is. I saw her earlier. What's up, Queen? Judge Jill Brown. Shout out to Dwan B. Uh,
Yeah,
Nicole.
sure was there today too.
Oh, I did want to talk about this too. I got one more topic. I'm good to go if we could talk about this thing. This thing with Bill
Go
Cosby.
ahead. Go ahead. I forgot all
Uh,
about it, but go ahead. He
well,
lost. He just got denied.
well, what happened was the parole was denied. So he denied the parole got denied because Cosby refused to meet with the sexual assault counselors and the parole board. And what it essentially would have been, when you talk about going to parole, part of a parole requirement, they want you to show some type of remorse for your actions. Cosby's whole thing has been that he is innocent of these charges, that he did nothing wrong. Remember, there was a settlement with this woman in particular, Andrea Constant. She admitted that they had been intimate on several occasions, although she denied intercourse. She even stated that after this incident happened, they continued to see each other. Yet he was found guilty by this court, and I think it was arguably one of the worst criminal court decisions in American jurisprudence. He did not get a fair trial. He did not get, in my opinion, a judge that was fair and impartial. The judge clearly had an agenda from the beginning. He was allowing witnesses who to make outbursts on the stand. I've told you about this before. He didn't correct them. He allowed he was just allowing all types of stuff that would normally not be allowed in a normal jury proceeding. We wouldn't have witnesses making outbursts. You wouldn't have five witnesses coming to testify, some of whom were outside, all of whom were outside the statute of limitations. And Dr. Cosby, had he agreed to take that parole hearing or take that parole, go and meet with the parole board, he would be admitting guilt. So he's not doing that. And another reason he's not doing it is because right now the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania has an appeal pending. He has an appeal pending with the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. So that would have thrown that into a loop had he met with the board. So he did the right decision. And I think it stands as a testament to anybody who thinks he's guilty. Why would he then, if he is guilty, go ahead and refuse meeting with a parole board when it would have made his sentence he would have gotten out by now, especially at 83 years old? That's another thing. This is an 83-year-old blind man, a former veteran. We talk about how we love our veterans, who gave hundreds of millions of dollars to charities, especially black causes. I mean, he did more for HBCUs than and the president we love and adore. He actually put his money where his mouth is. Now, you may have not agreed with his politics in the way that he did things. You may not like the fact that, like most of the people who, Bernard, if you notice, the people that attacked Bill Cosby are people who had a personal run in with him, that didn't like the fact that he was critical of their stand up or their art, like D.L. Hughley or Earthquake or Lunel or anybody there. You notice that?
Yeah.
It's a personal issue. They don't stick to the evidence. They only go off, he was just rude to me. He was an asshole. He didn't like Def Comedy Jam. Well, a lot of people didn't like Def Comedy Jam back then. There were some people who didn't like it. They actually still, to this day, if you try to get in a comedy club, they like to see you do what's called a clean set. You got to show them a 7-minute video of a clean set where you're not cursing in order to get on their stage, just to do an open mic. There's some spots who did that, who still do that. And they try to use it as the it's kind of from that Def Comedy Jam thing, but in truthfulness, white boys curse just as much as black folks.
That's exactly
I,
true.
yeah. I mean, remember Andrew Dice Clay, Sam Kinison, all of those dudes from back in the day. So I don't buy any of that shit. I mean, look, the man is 84 years old. They could have commuted his sentence. The judge obviously had an agenda. You sentenced the man 3 to 10 years. And let's not forget again, there was a settlement, Bernard,
Yeah.
for a $4 million settlement.
Well, I'm gonna say this because yeah, and speaking of Bill Cosby, we also had another great man die, Paul Mooney, in the same around that same time. So I just want to bring him
Yeah.
up to.
And yeah, Paul Mooney, black first, may he rest in peace. Paul, you know, Mooney is the Bill Cosby now is the last of those great comedians from the '60s is still around. With Paul Mooney's passing.
That's right.
Richard, you gotta think about that in hindsight, Bernard. Richard Pryor is gone, Dick Gregory gone, Flip Wilson has been gone for a while, Red Fox. Uh we lost Godfrey Cambridge a long time ago. So all of those guys, they're not here anymore.
Well, a lot of those guys. Well, a lot of those guys. I didn't really. I listened to them for their comedy, but I listened to the truth bombs they dropped in the comedy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I like it. That's why I like it. I even used to like what's the white boy name? George Colley, and he
George
dropped
Carlin. Yeah.
yeah.
George
So
was a beast, man. George Carlin, when he was able to do his word association, the stuff he did with words, I never saw a comedian do anything like that.
yeah, so I mean, but Paul Mooney, Paul Mooney, had so many comedians that are able to drop a lot of truth bombs, and that's where you get a lot of your truth at in those comic jokes. Well, they're not really jokes; they're actually real. I mean, even Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock, they dropped a lot of truth in their stuff too. Dave Chappelle told you, "I'm not putting on no dress." So I mean, okay.
Dave Chappelle, yeah, he talks a lot about that. But I think the closest Dave Chappelle came to wearing a dress, if you go back and look at that Robin Hood movie, the Robin Hood Men in Tights movie he did with Mel Brooks. I think they had him do something, which they always do. They had him do something stupid in it. But yeah, Black Men, he talked about it, how they tried to do it when he was on the set of Blue Streak. and with Martin Lawrence. And Martin, of course, Martin is always worn a dress.
Well, this is what I'm gonna say. This the year, and I got to give one more shout out to Kwame Brown for putting Jamel Hill in their place among others, even LeBron James to a small point. Well, when he brought out Jamel Hill, I said, Gavin, that's Yoda, right? You call her Yoda, don't you?
Called her Black Yoda.
Yeah. Or another queen of wokeness. But I just want take your time and enjoy your beach trip, and we'll talk again soon.
All right, man. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Thank you all to y'all listening, bro. Be safe, be blessed where you're at too. You're back at home, huh?
Yep, back at home. Yeah, so you take your time.
Yeah. Man, I let me say this too. I was watching this sketch comedy show they got on HBO, the Black Lady sketch show. We just talking about comedy. I couldn't laugh. I couldn't laugh at one thing they said.
Well, it won't funny then.
I, I'm a judge of talent. I do stand up myself.
You can tell from yourself.
I mean, it's not me being rude or hateful towards women. I just didn't think it was funny. But it's like anybody. I'm looking right now on HBO. I got the TV on, and I don't know who this lady. This is a woman. I think this is. I read about this. She's. I don't want to share all of it, but she has a late night talk show. I never seen her before. But I
Hey,
think, but I believe she's part of. I think she's the first. They say she's the first lesbian. Well, not the first lesbian to have a talk show, but the first black lesbian to have a late night show on
never
HBO.
fails, does
Huh?
it? Never fails, does
No.
it? Yeah, because I was about to say when you said that, but that's very interesting. But hey, the best comedians are the ones with less fanfare, because the real ones, the ones they probably like Steve Harvey and them, they're not really funny. You do a better job at stand-up comedy than they do. You just,
I don't know about that,
well, just, well, I
but
just give you advice on it. So
they,
but
I appreciate it. But yeah, I appreciate that. But Steve, yes, a lot of people don't like. A lot of people don't like different comedians for some reasons. Let me just tell you this secret I've learned. The top comedians are the best comedians you see are the ones you don't see on television. Uh, I've seen that especially when I was in Baton Rouge and we had a club that we did an open mic at called The Station. It still operates. And they would invite headliners to come. One guy who headlined, his name was Ron Ramey.
oh, I
And
like this comment right here. They're actually right. Politics is more funny than the majority of these comics. Got a point there, like
yeah,
that.
yeah, this guy was a writer on In Living Color with Paul Mooney and the Wayans brothers. And he was also a writer on the Drew Carey Show, Black Man. Fun from the time he got on stage to the time he bowed and walked off, I was tearing myself laughing at the stuff he was doing. That's how funny he was. So, but a lot of people, majority of people, probably never even heard of him, and that's just the way it is. It's about who you know. It's about having relationships and apparently who you sleep with. Not
Well,
all the time, but you know,
hey,
right?
let me learn.
Yeah. Well, let me go, man.
Take your time.
All right, I'll see y'all. Talk to you a little bit later.
All right, brother. Take your time.
All right.